Hi there. This is a follow-on video from the MBTI pre-flight check that I posted a couple of days ago, and this is about what to do if you've gone to get typed by a third party and they came back with a result other than what you expected. So you might have gone in thinking you were an INTJ, and the typologist, whoever you selected, came back and said, no, in fact, we think you're an ISFJ. Or you thought you were an INFJ or INFP, and they came back and said, no, in fact, we believe you're an ISTJ. So if you had thought about intent ahead of time and considered the outcome and what it means to you and gotten someone that you trust to do the typing, you may be in better shape to consider what to do now with that conflicting information and how to resolve that cognitive dissonance between what you thought you were and what the third party thought you were. I did want to have, however, for both those people who did prepare and those who found this something of a shock and surprise, a couple of thoughts. And the first thought is that we do have this artificial construct in our heads that never really existed, that there's a hierarchy to MBTI, that somehow the IN types, particularly the INTJ and INFJ, are somehow more virtuous or superior in some way to the other types. That is not the case. They are rare for a reason. On the other hand, you have kind of this idea that the sensor types, introverted and extroverted sensor leading, like the ISFJ, ESFP, ISTJ, ESFJ, are somehow, because they're more common, not as valuable. That is entirely untrue. Every type has its talents, and this brings me to my next point, which is one of the reasons to get typed is not for you to discover your strengths and say, oh my goodness, I've got NI, isn't that so fantastic? It's more to understand your weaknesses and how to either improve upon them or compensate for them. So for instance, in my case, introverted feeling, extroverted intuition, I've got these things. These are my tools, my go-to tools. It's not as if it's any surprise that I use these things. My weaknesses are in terms of organization, that inferior TE, or in terms of making sure that I have schedules and stick to things so that I get stuff accomplished, or at least not let things drop. For certain areas like acting on the fly and doing stuff kind of on demand, I'm just always going to be terrible at that. So I have to find other ways to compensate for it. And that is one of the purposes of MBTI. So if you've been typed as something else than what you expected, whether or not you choose to believe that, look at the other type in terms of what their weaknesses are and see if that can help for you to consider where your own strengths and weaknesses are and focus in particular on becoming a stronger and better person in those weaknesses. Finally, I wanted to say that if you believed you were an INFP and they came back saying you're something else than an INFP, I will gladly cut for you a deal that I will happily make you an honorary INFP if you look at being a virtuous person, if you look at the issues of morality, if you try to do good things, be kind to others, and make the world a better place. Those are things that are not exclusive to any MBTI type. And in fact, I would even say INFPs might not be the best at this sort of stuff because you might spend a lot of time thinking about it, but not enough time actually doing anything about it. So if somebody is an STJ or an SFP, SFJ, you can feel as much as anybody else, and you can do kind deeds and be a good person as much as anybody else. But the cognitive functions you have may be better set up to be more effective than other MBTI types, that you can actually get stuff done. You can plan a routine, you can do the deeds, you can socialize with people in ways that include them. You can basically be a good person in a more effective way than other types can be. And so I would be happy to welcome anybody who is trying to be a better person, who's trying to exercise kindness in the world, to say, you know, it doesn't matter to me what anyone else has typed you as. If you want to follow on these things that they supposedly, you know, stereotype or saddle INFPs with, sure, call yourself an INFP and you know, hop on board and join the train. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say as a follow-up. But if you have been typed as something else than what you expected, well, you're not alone. I initially, way back when, mistyped myself. I ended up on INFP only because I haven't figured out anything else that fits. And I'm still kind of open to other ideas, but it seems like I've run out of alternatives. So I'll stick with this for the time being. But, you know, regardless of type, I will also try to do what I can to be a better person. So with that, I will wish you a good day, and well, let's all go forward.